Obviously, it's ZappiStore, not Spring, but that's another story. Okay, a year or so ago, I was explaining to a friend what this new company, ZappiStore, would be. And she started to worry about its impact on the mainstream market research industry. She said if we pulled this off, the way the world views market research would change, and that I was in danger of becoming the most hated man in market research. What she was saying is that she was thinking about the research world currently from a client's perspective. A client at the moment, if they want to do an ad test or a product test, they basically have two choices. They can go to an Ipsos or an Ibope, who will do a great custom-designed research project for them, delivering great results using industry-leading thinking. However, it'll typically take 3 to 4 weeks, cost maybe $30,000. Your alternative is to go to a technology company. Go to a technology company such as SurveyMonkey or Google Surveys, or talk to some friends. Now, this approach is cheap, maybe free, but it's a lot of hassle. You don't know what to ask, you don't know how to analyze, or you have to analyze the whole thing yourself. So one approach is expensive and time-consuming, the other is very risky. It's the equivalent of the car market before the Ford came along. You can either get a custom-designed, very expensive car, or you can walk. The Model T changed all that, and we think ZappiStore will do the same for market research. When developing Zappi, we deliberately started from a research perspective and not a technology one. We selected a series of key research applications for testing advertising, products, brand equity, etc., and scoured the world for the best thinking available on each of those subjects. We then structured questions and analysis into automated surveys that are easy to configure and built that on top of SSI's global platform panel of over 3 million people. So basically, we've taken great research and automated it. So clients get great research project, well designed, including interactive reporting, that they can set up online in under 5 minutes. They simply decide what the type of research they want to do, which country they want to test in, select their target audience and do some basic survey configuration, then pay. In just a few hours, they get their cutting-edge interactive report back. Amongst the high-tech functionality available, you can see the report showing reactions to an ad second by second, heat maps, price-demand curves. It'll automatically show you key statistical differences, and you can filter audiences if you like. All this, for an entire project, start to finish, is about $1,500. Sure, clients sacrifice a little bit of flexibility, but they get the best thinking available and a rapidly expanding normative database. So basically, ZappiStore gets clients 80% of the way there in 5% of the time for 5% of the cost. Imagine if you were a Brazilian product developer coming up with a great idea in the morning, and now they'll be able to test that idea in several countries around the world and get a full research report back on their desk about that idea that same afternoon. It creates a whole new way of quickly testing and developing ideas with real consumer insight at the heart of the process. So you see the outcome is both very user-friendly and also powerful, sophisticated, timely, and inexpensive. That's why our beta test clients have become so excited by it. Our next step is to decide on phase 2 development. Currently we have 4 research applications, but 5 under development. We're in 3 markets. We're looking to expand into France, Germany, next month maybe China, and following that Latin America and the rest of Europe. And so what's the opportunity for this company? SMR figures show the size of the market that we've automated to be about $3 billion. And this matches our own market sizing study in the US. However, we believe we won't just take market share, but expand the market. Now that insight is available so much more quickly and cheaply than before, we believe more companies will access it, opening up the world to SMEs. Also, we believe people will do more projects. Not just one big expensive test before launch, but instead multiple tests, iteratively testing products or ideas or concepts as they go. So that's it from me. Oh, sorry, that's the market sizing. I ask you to help me in my quest. Remember what I mentioned at the beginning. Please vote for ZappiStore, and so vote to make me the least popular man in our industry. Obrigado.
That's a great presentation, and I do like what you've got in there. And yes, I think you're right that if you win this, you will be the most hated man in this room. I mean, a couple of things that spring to mind, and from when I read through your proposal. I mean, the reason that the customer research costs a lot of money is because you're paying for the consultancy time that you're getting from researchers. And in this, are you still proposing to give, so you're proposing to automate that consultancy?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And obviously this is going to become more effective with the more projects and products that you run through it, and the more that you can build up that normative database, and the more you get in there. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I was a client buying into this, what I would want to know is the validation that you've done. So what levels have you gone to validate that what you're kicking out as the results are correct? Have you done any parallel? Have you done anything in parallel, maybe with other trusted, more expensive techniques?
We launched last week. We have validated it. A lot of the thinking is just plain old market research thinking. So a lot of the questions we're using Gabor Granger for NPD, for instance. So that's been validated over years. So the technology, in terms of the questioning we're using for advertising, it's the stuff on APG papers. So it's the normal market research stuff. We are doing back-to-back tests against one of the famous market research companies that will remain nameless at the moment with a client. So we are looking to validate it directly.
Okay. So a question from my behalf. How flexible is this, or is this one size fits all?
There is some flexibility built in. So you can, for instance, if you're doing an ad test, there are, I think, 40 different messaging attributes, right, and you can pick 20. But actually, you can write your own. But it's had, in order to make the process work, we've had to be quite strict about how you write it. So you can't write a huge long paragraph as your messaging attribute. It has to be a few words. So you can definitely put in key image attributes. But it's built to be relatively inflexible. But you can do enough.
For which types of research would you recommend to use that? Because one of the concerns we have sometimes is using a validation type of research in an early stage and kill good ideas. How do you think this could help?
I would like to think of it. I think one of the problems with testing market research, so advertising testing, NPD, is it's so all-encompassing within the process. So if you think about an ad test, you spend 3 months creating an ad, then you do this big test and you have to wait all the time, for 3 weeks for it to get done. And then it's really scary, and the marketing director's there, and the ad agency creative director's there, and it's all political. Instead, they should be testing it multiple times along the way. So it stops being about a test and starts being about a learn. So to me, it changes the way you look at it. So it becomes an iterative learning process in some sense instead of a test.
Your model seems awfully close to where Google Search is going. Not that there's not room for more players, but how specifically, given their scale of resources and that, do you compete with them with a small sampling pool of 3 million and an enormous investment in technology to keep up?
I think I would say that we come from a very different place. So Google come from technology background, and they've created a DIY process. We're coming from a research background and creating automated full service. So actually, I see us as being very different. The stuff I've seen from them is I like some of the functionality of the reporting, which we haven't copied, obviously, but we've been inspired by, I think, is what I mean to say. So we've taken some of that, but they don't have the research thinking there. It's entirely DIY. So it's as scary and as difficult and as hassle-full as everything else. Now, putting it on top of Google surveys, would that be interesting? Yeah.
Question around the iterative nature of testing. If it's constantly iterating, who's providing the consultancy to help the customer iterate?
As soon as all our clients are constantly iterating, I'll be very delighted. And there, of course, will be, I mean, you've got internal research people. There will be other companies that want to create infrastructure around, hopefully, Zappy and say, you know, we'll help you do the consulting. Zappy, to me, should focus on what it's created to do, which is get great research and automate it, and let other people do some of the consulting around it.
Okay. Time's up. Thank you.
Thank you.